Good morning. It's time for Two Guys on Sports. I'm Larry Hazer.
I'm Dick Olson. Good morning, Larry.
Good morning, Dick. And we'll lead it off with wrestling as they had the individual wrestling sectionals this past Saturday, and some area teams did pretty well.
Yeah, you start off with let's start off with the Division II up at Medford. Medford was the top dog, but NGL, nice second place finish. These young kids just keep coming, and qualifying them for team sectionals, which was held Tuesday, and sending 8 individual qualifiers up to Tomahawk for the sectional this weekend, Larry. So,
any surprises you see out of those guys that are going on?
I thought they all had a chance.
Okay.
Just the way they wrestled in conference, and the Medford Regional, all your schools from the conference primarily, except for Regis and Cadott, are there. I mean, you have, of course, Medford, which is a very good team, and then Tomahawk, Rhinelander, Anago, a few others, among others, but not really. I think they all. I think the ones that I thought they all had a chance to go on, and they all did. So.
Now they go to Tomahawk, and of course you get to the sectional level, and things get a little tougher.
Yeah. I said the Warriors had 4 guys that finished fourth, and when you finish fourth, that means you're facing the champ from the other regional.
Oh, okay.
But this can be good and bad, because normally your number one guy, say he beats you, he normally wins his semifinal match too. You are then eligible to come back for consolation then.
Oh, okay.
If he loses semifinal match, you are eliminated.
Okay.
So,
all right.
So, there is, and let's just say Jackson Meyer, 285. Okay, fourth up there, freshman, good job. He draws Coy Hopke from Avery.
Okay.
That's his draw.
Okay.
3-time state champion, 2 losses over a career, but none of them in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
So, but, yes, Coy will beat Jackson. I almost would bet my house on it. But Coy will win his semifinal match, so Jackson will be able to wrestle back and maybe just crawl back into that top 3, and qualify for Madison. So
now it's top 3 at the sectionals?
Top 3 go to Madison.
Okay, so top 3 from each weight class.
So.
You got to see Hudson Sebest Opelt having a pretty good chance at 150.
Yeah, I like Hudson. I think he's the favorite at 150. I also like Jake Luchterhahn at 165. I don't think he'll be the champion, but I think he'll qualify. He has Owen Wasley from St. Croix Central. Owen is a 2 or 3-time state qualifier, and he is ranked number 1 in the state at 165, and that would be a tough matchup for Jake. And Dane Luchterhahn at 190. Again, he is facing the top dog, and from over there is Wyatt Ingram. And Wyatt was the 182 Division II state champion last year. So he would be, but Dane, I like his chances coming second or third also. So
now, Jake did wrestle 175 at the team section.
Yeah, they did some bumping up. What they did, I don't know who they plugged in at 150, but the big thing was having Hudson Sebest Opelt bumping up and matching up with Cole Markle.
Oh, okay.
At 157, and actually. Hudson has had a tough time with Cole, very close matches, but he has never beaten Cole Markle. But then, Jake went up to 175 and got a pin, and Dane got a pin at 190. So, so you got to like their chances there. So, but
okay, so they're going to see wrestlers from the St. Croix Central and St. Croix Falls team, and those two teams hooked up in the sectional final.
And you're also going to see wrestlers from Ellsworth and Amory. Northwestern has some good kids coming down.
Okay.
This sectional has always been traditionally very strong. There were 4 state champions out of this sectional last year, Larry.
Wow.
3 of them returned this year.
Oh, wow.
Ingram, the 182, he's wrestling at 90. And then Ian Smith from Northwestern was the 195 champion. He's wrestling at 215 this year. And then Coy Hopke, who was a 220 champ last year, and he's moved up to heavyweight. The only returning one is not returning is Gunnar Hoffman.
Oh, okay.
So
oh, wow.
Wow,
that is a tough sectional.
And a very tough on the top end. Very tough on the top end.
Okay.
So, but anything can happen. I think these kids have surprised us all year long. They all have good matchups in the first. But like I said, most of them have a good chance to come back in consolation, maybe bust into that top 3. So
now Abbotsford Colby, are they going to be at that sectional as well?
Yes, Abby Colby will be up there. They have Tristan Smazel, who was a state qualifier last year, so he's at 120, and then Matt Jekyll at 126, Alex Colby at 132, and then Tanner Lupka And this is going to be a real battle at 157.
Yeah, you just talked about that other young gentleman.
I talked. Cole Marco was there,
Yeah.
and then also Gabe Lasher, Mr. Laschewitz, I forget his first name, from Medford, is a very good wrestler.
Okay.
But Holupka handled him pretty well in the regional finals. But if those aren't the three going, I would be very surprised. So, but,
Okay.
Gavin McFarland from NGL is also in there. So, and he has Marco in the first round. So,
Okay.
so
All right.
there's got pretty good chance Gavin is going to get back into consolation. But to me, Tanner Holupka is the hands-on favorite there.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Yeah, I
All
like Tanner is very. Watching him last week on the live stream, he really looked tough against Laschewitz.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good record at 46-4.
And he's been he's a two-time state qualifier, two-time state placer, and of course, knee injury from football took care of his junior year. So, but he has come back very strong this year, and I think he's probably got a title set in his eyes. So.
Now you got some guys from Stanley Boyd that are going
Yeah,
up there too that look like they could have a pretty good chance.
Yeah, Brecken Brzezinski, who is a returning state qualifier. Graham at heavyweight looks very good.
Okay.
Very good.
All right.
I think he's not going to beat Hopke, but
I was just going to say, any chance of
he's
him
not
beating?
going to beat Hopke.
Okay.
But Willie Graham is only a sophomore too, and I think he will qualify for state. So,
Okay.
So he looks very good. The times I've seen him. So.
Wyatt Carl from Spencer Columbus Granton. Any chance?
215 is a pretty open thing there.
Okay.
Other than Smith at Northwestern, I don't think there's anybody who's really, and Wyatt, if Wyatt wrestles, you never know. So
Okay. So could have some individuals moving
yeah,
on.
I think we're going to have a nice representation from the area in Division II, and I think we're going to have a pretty good whack from D1 and D3 too, is the way it looks too. So,
Yeah, you look at D3, and of course we talked about that regional last week, and a number of wrestlers are moving on.
Yeah, Auburndale is let's say Stratford won the D3 Auburndale Regional out.
Yeah.
Beating Marathon this week, totally opposite from the conference meet. But they went up to the sectional. They had Marathon both ended up in the team sectional Tuesday night at Cadott, and both ended up ending their seasons to Cumberland.
Yeah.
And
right.
Cumberland has a very strong team this year in D3. Will they beat Fenimore? Probably not, but they're pretty good. One of the better teams from this area.
Okay.
But anyway, Auburndale sending 6 strong wrestlers over there, including Derek Goddard, who's been down there before, and also Colton Weiler, who's been down there both.
And Colton Weiler's only got one loss.
Yeah, Colton Weiler is tough. His daddy back in the day was a pretty decent wrestler,
Okay.
too.
So he's
for
got
Auburndale.
He's got a good teacher.
You betcha, Nate Weiler, yeah.
All right.
So, Cadott sending 4 guys down there. Look for Axel Teagle to be pretty strong at 215. Edgar Harrison Gravine looks very strong at heavyweight for Edgar. Marathon, of course, has Underwood at 106, and he definitely will be the favorite there. And
Undefeated, by the way.
undefeated.
48-0.
Yeah, and I think he only had 1 loss his freshman year, so
Wow.
he's pushing it. So he's probably going to have his 100 wins before his sophomore year, which is, that puts you on pace for 200 wins, and that's pretty uncharted
elite
territory.
class there.
That's pretty elite there. So, but Stratford's sending 12 people up there.
Yeah.
So they're going to pretty good representation, and then down at the Independence Gilmanton Regional, Pittsville is advancing 7 wrestlers down there to the Mineral Point sectional. So out of the Independence Gilmanton Regional.
Now I see in this Stratford grouping here, Carter Luke at 175, 46-1.
Yeah, he's strong. And then Mr. Kilty from the football team.
Yeah.
He's very strong. The Canoyer brothers down at the lower weights, they're both very strong. So, yeah, very strong 12. They've got and they have depth, and that's why they won their regional, because they put 14 people out there who
Right.
get you points. So
Yeah.
so.
And kind of the same thing in Division I with Marshfield
Yeah.
sending 13 wrestlers on.
Yeah, and I still can't get over Marshfield losing to Hudson at the regional
By 1 point, yeah.
at the team sectional. Medford, Marshfield, by the way, dominated the regional at DC Everest. DC Everest was second, but both DC Everest, of course, lost to Menominee, and then, like I said, I wouldn't have guessed this one, but Coach Kurt Hansen over at Hudson puts a pretty good program out every year, and they nipped Marshfield 37-36, but. Menominee definitely the class over there.
Okay.
So they
All
are
right.
very strong throughout. So
All right. So Marshfield could
Yeah.
have some guys
and that
heading
is
out.
the sectional is in Marshfield. Saturday.
Okay.
The individual sectional is at Marshfield. So 13 wrestlers going and having some home cooking. That's pretty nice. Yeah.
Very nice. Yes. Yes, indeed. Wisconsin Rapids, they have 12 wrestlers
Yeah,
advancing.
and they won their team sectional, so they are advancing
Yeah.
to team state. Yeah, they knocked off Holman in the sectional finals. And this is a very good Rapids team. This is a team they've been building for quite a few years, and that the Tritzes and a few others. So,
Yeah, it looks like they have, like you said, depth. They got all the way up and down those weight
they
classes.
score everywhere.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah, so.
All right. So, we talked about the individuals, the team sectionals, kind of got into that a little bit.
The D3 sectional area is at Edgar, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So
All right.
I forgot to mention that. So
but-
Edgar, Tomahawk, and Marshfield are the places to be Saturday.
Yes, that's where all the area wrestlers are going to
Along
be.
with a little place to the east, to the west over here, over in Osseo.
But the top 3 wrestlers, again, advanced to state from each of the weight classes. And state will be at the Kohl Center in Madison.
And D2, I believe it's only 2. D2 because they have 8 sectionals.
Okay.
So there's 12 kids that go in D2 and D3, but only 16 go in D1, but they have 8 sectionals. So
Okay.
so-
All right. And as we mentioned, Wisconsin Rapids, congratulations to them.
Yeah.
They're heading to the team state tournament in March, first weekend in March. So
And they will be very competitive there. They will match up with some pretty good teams over there. So I didn't look at the list last night, but
even Menominee, they might.
Menominee is going to be tough also.
Okay. All right.
You got to start with some other teams like Kakana and teams like that. So I haven't went through the whole list this year. So, but
Well, we'll get into that a little bit more.
We'll get that after individual state.
Yes, yeah, we got to get through that coming up this weekend first.
Yeah,
All right, in girls basketball, they will have their crossover playoff games coming up tonight, and a little bit of a change in that third and second place game that we didn't know was coming.
We didn't. I said everybody kind of thought Greenwood was heading for
Yeah.
that, and you feel a little bad for the Indians because it would have
Right.
been the first time they'd been in the second place crossover in a while. But Owen Withey had been coming on all season, and they gave Greenwood a pretty good whipping up and came down to a tiebreaker with halves led, and with Owen Withey's win Tuesday night in a makeup game at Gilman, they finished tied, and Owen Withey had the first tiebreaker. So
Yeah, so they will advance on to that second place game, but tonight it is the third through eighth place games. So Greenwood will be at Regis for third place tonight. Columbus Catholic at Osseo Fairchild for fourth. Loyal gets that nice short trip to Bloomer for fifth place tonight. Gilman is at Cadott. Spencer is at Stanley Boyd. Gilman Cadott for sixth. Spencer Stanley Boyd for seventh, and Colby at Thorpe for eighth place tonight.
So, that's kind of interesting. I was talking to Pat Gallatin, the administrator there, and they said Spencer and who was the other team, bottom two teams.
Oh, Colby?
Yeah, they didn't go through the tiebreakers. They just decided who would.
Oh, you want to go there? Okay, you go ahead.
Yeah, and Gallatin said, "Well, we'd picked Stanley Boyd, but Spencer hadn't played him, so they wanted to play him. So they get to go to Thorpe. So
Okay, all right, there you go. Then on Saturday night over in Osseo, the second place game starting at 6 o'clock. Owen Withey against Fall Creek. And that'll be followed by the first place game, Neelsville and McDonald Central.
yeah, it should be a battle for first.
Yeah.
And this will be a nice yardstick, measuring stick for the Warriors because they lost in game 2 of the season to McDonald. Pretty decent game, tight game. And we'll see how far those young kids have come against a team like McDonald's.
Right, you bet. Both games, by the way, will be on 92.7
Yep.
WPKG, again, starting at 6
Yep.
with that second place game. And, of course, the pairings are out for girls basketball as well as the tournament gets underway next Tuesday. Neelsville gets a bye as they are a number 1 seed in their half of the sectional in Division 3 or Division 4, excuse me. So they'll get the winner of the what was it, Westby?
Luther and Westby.
Luther and Westby. So
Yeah.
that game will be on Tuesday.
And so that a week from tomorrow.
Yeah. So Neelsville will have that game next Friday.
Yep. So,
At the Fieldhouse.
but other local seeds that play Tuesday, Larry.
Yep.
Greenwood got a number 3 seed, and they will host Elko on Tuesday. Loyal is a number 5 seed, and they are hosting Rosholt. And Owen Withey drew a 2 seed, and they host Thorpe. So
Okay. There you go.
so pretty good seeds for Colorado. I didn't check Columbus or anybody else, but good for Greenwood, nice 3 seed, and and hope if they win that one, they'll have another home game. So,
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, so that gets underway next Tuesday, the girls' state basketball tournament. And the boys, they have their crossover playoffs next week, but they have some games yet to take care of tomorrow night.
I'll tell you what, we got a lot. We got a lot to determine yet.
Yeah.
I got to thinking, if Colby has to go to Owen Withy, and of course Owen Withy losing Tuesday night to Loyal, that really I was thinking with Nielsen losing at Colby, boy, they're kind of not in a great position, Loyal beating Owen Withy kind of brought it back, and then of course Colby having to go to Owen Withy on Owen Withy's senior night, so it should be interesting. But then I got, if Nielsen and Colby finish in a tie, I talking to them versus head-to-head play. Well, they're 1-1 there.
They split,
and then figuring out the halves led. I think that's 2-2 because Nielsen would have won the first half of the first game because they were up like 10 or 12.
Yeah, they did.
And then Colby would have won the second half because it ended up winning by 2 or 1 or whatever it was. And then last night, Colby won the first half easily. But Nielsen coming back with that late rally, getting within 4, would have won the second half.
Oh, okay.
So you both have 2 halves. So
I don't know what the I'd have to go back into the bylaws there and find out. But
I said Pat Gallatin was running down him as fast as I could. I couldn't.
Okay.
But, he was explaining to me. He said it just keeps going and going. It's just unbelievable.
If you go to CloverBellConference.org, you'll be able to find that.
But the easiest thing that could happen is if Owen Withy defeats Colby and Nielsen defeats Spencer, and then everything will be in place.
Right, yeah. Or if Nielsen could have made that comeback all the way against Colby and won, then it would have been
done. And the same thing with winning against Owen Withy last week, too.
Right.
That would have done it there, too. But both teams played Nielsen very tough at home, and, of course, Nielsen a little stagnant, but the second half last night, they kind of looked like they're back in the game a little bit,
So now Colby and Neillsville both 9-4, Owen Withy 8-5, and again, Neillsville will host Spencer tomorrow night, and Owen Withy will host Colby tomorrow night.
And that will be a very big senior night in Neillsville.
Yes, and
maybe one of the largest senior classes they've ever had probably go through here in basketball.
Yeah, I mean, and it was that way in football.
Yes, absolutely.
It'll be that way in basketball
and baseball.
And baseball now. So pretty much your whole team.
And all the same kids, pretty much.
Yeah.
Minus a few here, minus a few there. So
that'll be out at track, but
So
it'll be interesting.
Yep.
Especially next year when things.
Well, I said things were interesting this year because you had a different style of play. Next year, change is good.
All right, now boys and girls hockey. Of course, their regionals. Coming up as well. There was one game that was played on Tuesday in Division I. It was a regional semifinal for the boys, and Wisconsin Rapids ended Marshfield's season 6-1. Mm-hmm. So Wisconsin Rapids now will take on Stevens Point tonight in a Division I regional semifinal for the boys. Black River Falls Co-op will host Baldwin Woodville Co-op, and Regis Altoona McDonald is at River Falls in Division II boys hockey. For the girls, they only have one division.
Right.
And it's regional finals already tonight.
Yeah.
Black River Falls Co-op is at Hudson,
Yep.
and Northland Pines takes on Wisconsin Valley Union at Stevens Point.
Yeah, that's funny how that. Well, and of course, like you said, only one division also. So, I believe that's a 3-6 matchup there. So, but the Black River Falls Co-op girls 14-10 on the season. I think they're good enough they can play and win anywhere, and same thing with their boys too. So
So that'll be going on tonight, with winners advancing on to next week's sectionals for boys and girls hockey. So a lot of stuff going on in high school sports.
It's
one of those weekends.
It's February.
Yeah,
it's February.
The next couple of weekends are going to be pretty busy for high school sports around this area. All right, where are they now?
Okay, Larry, I'm going down to Black River Falls, and I am talking today about Thane Anderson, a 1988 graduate of Black River Falls High School. Thane was a 2-year letter winner on the Tiger football team. His junior year, the Tigers were 3-6. Thane, playing receiver, caught 17 passes for 205 yards and 2 touchdowns on the season. His senior year, the Tigers were 4-5 on the season. Thane caught 23 passes for 315 yards and 5 touchdowns and was a first-team selection on the Cooley Conference All-Conference football team. In the winter, Thane was a 4-year letter winner on the Tiger basketball team. His freshman year, Black River Falls was 17-6 on the season, losing in the regional finals to Osseo Fairchild. Thane averaged 5 points per game as a freshman. His sophomore year, the Tigers were 20-4 on the season and were Cooley Conference and regional champions, losing in the sectional semifinals to Prairie du Chien. Thane averaged 12 points and 7 rebounds per game and was a second-team selection on the Cooley Conference All-Conference team. His junior year, the Tigers were 21-4 on the season, Cooley and regional champions, losing in the sectional semis again to Prairie du Chien. Thane averaged 17 points and 8 rebounds per game and was a first-team selection on the Cooley Conference All-Conference team and a second-team selection on the Lacrosse Tribune All-Area team. His senior year, Black River Falls was 25-2 on the season, Cooley Conference, regional, and sectional champions, qualifying for the WIA Class B state tournament where they lost in the state semis to Clintonville 67-60. Thane averaged 21 points and 9 rebounds per game on the season. He was a first-team selection on the Cooley Conference All-Conference team and was Conference Player of the Year. He was also a first-team selection on the Lacrosse Tribune All-Area team and was selected Lacrosse Tribune's Player of the Year. He was also an honorable mention All-State selection. In the spring, Thane was a 3-year letter winner on the Black River Falls track team. His senior year, he was a WIA Division II state qualifier in the high jump. After graduation, Thane enrolled at UW Eau Claire and joined the Blue Gold basketball program. His freshman year, Eau Claire was 29-4. They were WSUC champions, qualifying for the NAIA National Tournament, where they would make it to the national semis, where they lost to East Central Oklahoma 58-56. Thane averaged 4 points and 2 rebounds per game on the season. His sophomore year, the Blue Golds were 30-4. They were WSUC champions, qualifying for the NAIA National Tournament, where they would lose in the national final game to Birmingham, South Alabama, 88-80. Thane averaged 8 points and 5 rebounds per game. His junior year, Eau Claire was 29-3 on the season. They were WSUC champions, qualifying for the NAIA National Tournament, where they lost in the national quarterfinals to Taylor, Indiana, 64-57. Thane averaged 11 points and 6 rebounds per game on the season. His senior year, the Blue Golds were 20-9 on the season, qualifying for the NAIA National Tournament, where they lost in the first round to Northwestern Oklahoma 60-58. Thane averaged 9 points and 5 rebounds per game on the season. Thane ranks 9th all-time on the UW Eau Claire career list for most games played with 117. Thane graduated from UW Eau Claire in 1993 with a degree in pre-dentistry. He then graduated in 1998 from the University of Minnesota Dental School with a Doctor of Dental Surgery degree. Today, Thane owns Stoughton Dentistry in Stoughton, Wisconsin. Thane and his wife, Krista, have 3 adult children and reside in Stoughton. Thane Anderson.
There's a name for you from Black River Falls.
You bet, yeah.
Anderson.
Yeah, and then playing for Ken Anderson at Eau Claire.
Yeah. Boy, they had some good years up there.
Oh, you bet.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. You go back to those Ken Anderson years.
Yeah.
They were awesome.
Yeah.
They were one of the benchmarks in NAIA basketball back in those days.
Yeah.
And every year, too.
Almost a yearly trip to Kansas City.
You bet. Yep. Yeah, Kansas City. That was every
they
year.
did, the NAIA championship. Yep. All right. While you were doing the Where Are They Now, I dug up the playoff procedure.
Okay.
So we got head-to-head.
Yeah.
Halves led head-to-head.
Okay.
And the next one is halves led using accumulative scores for all conference games.
Okay.
So somebody's going to have to do some math.
Yeah.
That would be the next one. Then it's first half points allowed head-to-head, then fewest points allowed in conference games, and then the last one, flip a coin.
Right, yep.
So.
And now you know why Kobe and Marathon Kobe and Spencer just said, "I'll play them, you play."
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Nobody wanted to go through the headaches.
Instead of going down the line
Yeah.
for all that. Yeah. So there you go, the playoff procedure. Brewers. How about the Brewers?
Yeah.
They get the pitchers and catchers are had their first workout today.
Yep.
Or having their first workout today later on, and new manager Pat Murphy.
Yep.
Different look on the pitching staff. Some
new faces. It's going to be
on the roster.
Freddie Peralta is now technically your number one. And I'll tell you what happened. Yes, Wade Miley should be in there. Colin Ray, and I would, if he's healthy, I think Aaron Ashby should be in there too. I would think he's good enough anyway.
Yeah.
They've got some other kid, this Hall that they acquired from
Yeah.
the Orioles. They look for him to be a star, and they've had a couple of kids in the minors that I think are going to get a shot too. Their bullpen remains strong.
Yeah,
you
should
got
be.
Devin Williams on the back end, and you got some arms in the middle. Abner and a few other guys. A lot of guys hitting triple digits these days down in that bullpen.
Sure. Yeah. The rest of the team will be coming into camp next Tuesday, and then they have their first Cactus League game already.
Yeah.
Next Saturday, the 24th,
Yep, so-
against San Diego.
And there, there's roster positions to be made. You got a lot. You got
A lot of young guys.
A lot of young outfielders.
Yeah.
You got 6 outfielders. It's that are all very young. You're probably and along with Yelich.
Right. Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. I was kind of surprised maybe they didn't deal somebody in the offseason to pick up, some of that. But I guess the big open position to me is third base.
Yeah.
That's kind of, we'll see there.
But maybe they'll just platoon some guys.
Yeah,
in there
hopefully,
again.
hopefully they can find somebody and. Hopefully somebody, gets it. It's kind of a power position, and they really haven't had any power numbers there lately. So,
No, it's been kind of a whoever steps up.
Yeah, it's even
kind of position.
Even back since Travis Shaw and Moustakas were over there, they haven't really anybody who on a regular basis who you could say was going to be in the lineup every day. So, but and we'll see. And there's always going to be some surprise in camp too, I would think. So.
And new manager, Pat Murphy, so we'll see how he does the whole thing.
Read an article, a lot of people think this might be Keston Hiura's last chance.
No? Okay.
For a former first-round pick, just has never got back in the groove after a great rookie season. And just, he did it all in the minor leagues. When he's went down, he's done great. But he just has not been able to do it. And he's not good. He's kind of a DH type too, Larry. He's not really a great second baseman. They put him at first base. Well, you got to – he's 5'9". You got to –
throw it right to him practically.
But now first base is going to be Rhys Hoskins, pretty much. And
I mean, there's no waiting around.
Yeah,
there's guys coming up.
He's if he comes in and sets the world on fire, maybe there's a DH position for him. But he just.
But then you got Yelich there probably for that too.
and that's the thing. With all these outfielders, your fourth outfielder is technically usually the DH.
Right.
And Yelich is going to be in the lineup every day.
And they brought in Sanchez, the backup catcher, who could see some time at DH.
I'll tell you what, I really like that pickup.
Yeah.
He has hit with power wherever he has went. With the Yankees, the Twins. Padres signed him late last year, Larry, and I think he hit almost 20 home runs.
Yeah.
And he did. I don't think he signed till almost June. So I really like that pickup. He's not a bad defensive catcher. He's not the great. He's not like Victor Caratini or somebody like that. And, but he does hit with power, and he hits pretty decent average, and I really like that pickup behind. And
so he could see a lot of time at bat.
Yeah, he could see some DH time, and he also gives Contreras DH time also.
Sure.
So
could be a good thing for the catching position.
and I think that's going to be great for Contreras. He doesn't have to go out and catch 130 games.
Right.
So.
The Kansas City Royals unveiled plans earlier this week for a new ballpark in the middle of Kansas City, right downtown.
Yeah, for years they've played out there next to Arrowhead.
Yeah.
So, and it is a long way from downtown, I understand. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't even know exactly where it is.
It's way out in the sticks, people say. Maybe not, that was years ago they said in the sticks.
Yeah,
the way cities have grown, maybe it's not so bad. But, it just seems like the eye for things are to squeeze them into downtown and get as much money into downtown as you can these days. That was kind of the idea with the Pfizer Forum with the Bucks, So.
And they're going to kind of link it. I saw some pictures online. T-Mobile, it's not T-Mobile Park, but it's T-Mobile something.
Yeah.
The stadium for their like where Kansas Jayhawks and all them play.
Yep.
And they're going to kind of link it so that you can walk from there like a skywalk over to the new Kansas City Royals Stadium. They hope to be ready maybe in time for the 2028 season. So it's a little ways down the road.
You wonder how long, how this affects the Chiefs out there at Arrowhead. Of course, that's not, that's the loudest stadium. You can't see them leaving Arrowhead anytime soon.
I can't see that, no.
And they pack that 80,000 strong every time.
Yeah.
And like I said, the loudest stadium in the league by far, as people say. So.
And this is only supposed to be about 34,000.
Yeah. And that's the way, baseball parks, that's the way Miller Park was built.
Yeah.
41,000. You don't have empty seats that way.
Right.
You have a waiting list. It's kind of you hate to say it, it's kind of a takeoff on Wrigley Field and Fenway Park.
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not that big a
They're
stadium.
not- but they're sold out all
Yeah,
the time.
right.
It's
Well,
hard-
making it an indoor park don't
Yeah.
hurt any for
Well,
getting
that
a
was the
sellout.
big move with the American Family Field. If you put a roof on it, people are going to be able to come. They know they're going to be coming
Right.
down to a game. Where County Stadium, you didn't know if it was raining or
Yeah.
whatever.
You can get
so-
tickets ahead of time,
Yeah.
but you're hoping it
Yeah.
didn't rain or snow.
Yeah, and I think that was the big thing. Bud Selig would. And to this day, you look what Bud Selig did with American Family Field and what they did with Target Field in Minnesota. That's a place that probably should have a roof too.
Yeah,
So,
you're right. Yeah, these kind of stadiums in the north,
yeah, it's
because you never know what you're going to get in the
Yeah,
spring
yeah.
or the fall,
No,
late
that-
fall.
yeah, absolutely. So.
Well, Jim Leonard is off the list for any possible things with the Packers.
No, he's going to back in the NFL.
Yeah?
The guy he replaced, Parker, I believe he went to defensive coordinator somewhere. I'm not
Okay.
remember. And the Packers actually interviewed him too as
Oh.
a defensive coordinator.
But Leonard's going to be the Denver Broncos secondary coach.
Yep. And that's that's how he was back in the day under Rex
Yeah.
Ryan. He was the defensive backs coach, so he knows it. He's a good one. So
And Steve Spagnuolo
Yeah.
is coming back to the Chiefs
okay.
as their defensive coordinator.
And I suppose there'll be a rumor about Andy Reid. I can't believe Andy Reid wouldn't come back though either.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that. yet.
Andy's looking kind of old though.
Yeah. And he's,
It's all those commercials with Mahomes, I think. But I'll tell you what, he's still one of the great offensive minds in football.
They did a whale of a job over the 49ers in
Yes,
that
they
Super
did.
Bowl.
But, just before we get down to the Super Bowl, I always think the Packers always made a mistake. When Mike Holmgren resigned to go to Seattle, they did not hire Andy Reid. They let him go to Philadelphia because they
Yeah.
didn't think he was experienced enough, and they
Wow.
hired Ray Rhodes instead. Well, shame on you.
Yeah, well, what do they say? That's 20. What is that?
2020 hindsight.
Yeah, 2020 hindsight. Yeah. All right. So Super Bowl 58, another record breaker as far as crowds
Yeah.
watching, and not as
Yeah.
far as crowds there, but
Yeah.
watching and betting on the Super Bowl. And
Yeah, a lot of dollars, but
I don't know. Would you call that a instant classic? I know it went to overtime and it was 25-22, but
I thought it was.
Boy, the first three
I thought it was
quarters
a
were-
dog.
Yeah,
for
the first three quarters
and
were-
and the fourth quarter saved it basically.
Yeah.
And both, I guess you got to hand it to both defenses. They both played pretty well.
Yeah.
A couple of turnovers took scoring chances out, but Mahomes, you got to give him credit when he needed to move the ball, for a tying field goal and then the winning touchdown. He did it. There's no ifs, ands, or he found Kelsey too, his safety net,
Yeah,
and that was
yeah.
a big thing there too. So.
well, that blocked extra point really
You
proved
really
big.
come into play because that allowed them to tie the game with a field goal at the end, where else they would have had to go for a touchdown, and who
On
knows?
4th
So-
and 6.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
absolutely. So yeah,
You never know.
little things,
Those little things. And they said it when it happened.
Yeah.
That they hoped that it didn't come back, and
it did.
it did.
So, but-
yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was an okay game. I've seen, I guess I go back to the Super Bowl where the Patriots made the big rally against the Falcons. I thought that was a better game than this. And there's been games that have been better all the way through, but
Yeah.
it was still a good game. It
Yeah.
held my attention.
Yeah, it was all right.
But I've heard more people say it was kind of boring and stuff like that.
Well, and I don't think a majority of the people like a defensive game.
No, they don't. And see,
it's
I
all about
enjoy it.
offense.
I enjoy it, but
It's the same with baseball. They'd
Yeah.
rather see a 10-9 game than a
Oh.
1-0.
I think there's nothing better than a 1-0 shutout. Especially if the run comes in the night on a walk off, or something like
Yeah.
that. But that's maybe the purist in me. But I enjoy a good defensive football game. I love it when a defense can step up and stop a guy like Patrick Mahomes or a Deebo Samuel
Yeah,
or something. I just think that's just terrific defense of playing. So and I don't know. But yeah, I've heard more people grumble about that. And then most people said, well, they didn't. They went to bed before the overtime. I said, well, that's the best part.
Yeah.
But,
You got to see what
that was
happens.
the first game played under the new overtime rules. So
And
Yeah.
then, of course, the big thing was San Francisco didn't know the overtime rule.
Yeah.
As far as how you play it.
yeah, right away people say you should go on defense. Well, I don't think that's Kyle Shanahan's way. He wants to go get a touchdown and win it, and
But you don't win it on a touchdown.
No, you don't.
The other team gets a
yeah.
chance.
See, the old overtime rules you did.
Right.
And this one, and I agree with people. I would go on defense first. If nothing else, let's see if your defense can create a turnover. If nothing else, and if they score, so be it.
Right.
And
you get a chance.
You get a chance. So,
Yeah.
So.
And apparently they were going to do that before the game even started. That's
Co-
how they were going to
What
work
I
it.
seen the interview with Coach Shanahan this week, he claimed that was their plan all week.
Yep.
And as detailed as the guy is, Larry, I believe him.
Oh, yeah.
No
Yeah.
ifs, ands, or what's about. And, he was sitting next to John Lynch when he did this, and John Lynch agreed 100% with him. So
Yeah. If he's anything like his dad, he's pretty meticulous.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, his dad was sitting in the stands, too.
I seen him, yeah.
Probably shaking his head, too.
Well, some history could be made tonight in women's college basketball. Caitlin Clark going for the all-time record in NCAA
She's
women's
8 points
basketball.
short. So, and I'll tell you, I was watching the game Sunday. It was on Fox early afternoon, and she had needed 8 points to go going into the fourth quarter, and she could not get an open shot.
That is amazing how
Yeah.
she could not score.
Yeah, and they were up by like 10 or 12 going into that fourth quarter, and Nebraska came back and just fed off their crowd and beat them. And it just, wow, I couldn't believe it. But they started picking her up at that half court line and just would not just getting a body on them.
Well, and she's the girl for them pretty much.
You bet. Yeah, she had some other kids shooting, but they didn't hit either.
Yeah.
So it's
Places like SeatGeek, StubHub, TickPick, and Vivid Seats were offering single tickets available for upwards of $1,000 for that game tonight.
okay. Is that game in Iowa?
It's in Iowa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Carver Hawkeye. Yeah. It's a tough seat. So
And it's on Peacock, so it's not going to be one of those games where everybody can see.
No, it's not going to be on the Big Ten Network.
No.
So, but Carver Hawkeye is, whatever sport, boys basketball, girls basketball, or wrestling, they sell it out. I said,
Yeah.
last week I was watching the Iowa Penn State wrestling match. They had 20,000 people there. I said, but
Well, that's a pretty good match, though.
it is a great match. But it gets back to the thing, Larry. Iowa sports is the closest thing to professional sports they have in the state of Iowa.
Right.
So
Yep.
yeah, Hawkeye football. People live by the Hawkeyes. Unless you're down the road a little bit in Ames, they live by the Cyclones.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Shaquille O'Neal had his number retired by the Orlando Magic.
Okay.
So he had his number retired by the Magic, the
Lakers,
and was it the Heat?
Heat. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he had his number retired by all three teams.
Teams.
That's the first number that Orlando had retired.
Yeah, and he and Penny Hardaway came in together. And,
He was their first number one overall pick.
Yep.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, it's I said it's pretty interesting. Some of these teams retire jerseys like crazy, but I have no problem with three teams. He took all three teams to the playoffs, and
He did
that matchup. And a lot of people said there wasn't a lot of chemistry, but I still believe him and Kobe Bryant had a lot of chemistry on the court.
Yeah.
And, and they took
It's a good
I'll tell
team.
you bet they were fun to watch.
Oh, yeah.
I said in some ways they were funner to watch than the Magic days of the Lakers Showtime. But they were good too, though.
Yeah,
so.
they were. It would be interesting to see how they.
There's a few retired numbers from that team in the rafters
right.
too.
Yes. Tom Clements returning as a Packers quarterback coach.
I think that's important because of Jordan Love. I think he did a great. Aaron Rodgers always was a big believer in Tom Clements, and I think Jordan Love shows the same thing. So.
Sean Mannion, where does he come from?
He's been in the NFL. He's kind of been a career backup. I think he's been in Minnesota and a few other places. But he's joined the Packers staff.
Yeah, and they think that Clements might be grooming him to take over as the quarterback's coach.
They always say a backup quarterback makes a good coach. It's like
yeah, you're right.
And like baseball, catchers always make good managers too.
Yeah. I don't know why that is.
But I think because they got the game in front of them. I don't know. But
well, you look at look at all these great players that have gone through like NBA and baseball. None of them are managers.
No.
I mean, Michael Jordan never was a coach.
No.
Larry Bird was never a coach.
No. General managers, but
and owners,
but
never coaches.
I said maybe the greatest player to become a coach was Bill Russell.
Yeah,
and that was as a player coach with the Celtics, and then he coached Seattle later on. But guys like Lenny Wilkins was a great coach, but Lenny Wilkins had a great playing career, but he's not a guy you'd think. But
Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never been a coach.
No. Yeah. Joe Montana,
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Brett Favre.
yeah. Tom Brady.
No, never.
I don't see him being a coach
No,
anywhere down the line.
No.
So we a broadcaster.
Yeah. Yeah, I said that's pretty interesting. It sounds like he's going into the Fox booth and Greg Olson is on his way out.
Yeah, I haven't heard
And I
anything
like Greg Olson.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything where he's going either.
No, yeah.
If anybody picked him up, I don't know.
He, if he goes to a number 2 team, that's kind of a sham because I thought the last couple of years, I thought the number 1 broadcasting team at Fox, and nothing against Buck and Aikman, they're great.
Yeah.
But Greg Olson is very, very good and very insightful too. So
I know some people are thinking that Tony Romo may have been talking a little bit too much during the Super Bowl.
I think Tony Romo talks too much anytime.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
he was kind of good. He was good when he first came in, but now it's kind of
on the downhill slide.
I think he's been reading the tweets and all that.
Yeah,
and it's kind of going to his head a little bit.
And you get to that too. Yeah, and the more money you make, the more goes to your head.
Yeah.
But he's getting a little stale. And I and of course you work with Jim Nance, or no, who's his partner?
Yeah, Nance is his partner. Yep.
Jim Nance is very good.
Yeah.
Very professional. And Jim Nance has had other great partners too, but who knows? So they change. Those contracts come up a lot too.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah.
But
And it's all about money.
I still think I really enjoyed listening to Greg Olson during the season.
Yeah,
I thought he was one of my favorite broadcasters. So
Yeah.
So.
Yep. All right. Anything else you got to go through?
The Cup this weekend, NBA All-Star Game.
Yeah.
The activities in Indianapolis, and the big game. Their big game is Sunday night, and then during the day Sunday, NASCAR opens up their season with their. Of course, they play their Super Bowl first. They say because their big event is Daytona 500,
right.
and they open up with that, and so they were opening up with the Daytona 500. So pretty good sports weekend. So lots of high school sports, lots of high school wrestling, girls basketball. It's going to be a big weekend.
It's going to be a big weekend.
Yep.
And tomorrow night we've got boys basketball as Neillsville has senior night.
Yeah, huge senior night, right? Maybe one of the biggest senior nights I've ever had in Neillsville.
They host Spencer tomorrow night on 92.7 WPKG. And that'll wrap it up for Two Guys on Sports for this week. I'm Larry Hazer.
I'm Dick Olson.
We'll talk to you again next week.